I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking the Battle of the Blackwater was the best episode of last season. Also a tough one to write.
Is that done out of a sense of vengeance? Like, you thought up this damn thing, you scripted?
Yeah, I think Dave and Dan did have a bit of that going on in the back of their mind there. The Battle of Blackwater was quite a plum. I was very excited that I did get to write it, even though it didn't include many of my favorite characters. So I missed having a chance to write about like Arya, for example, who's totally absent, or Danny. The episode is just focused on the Blackwater, but that gave it a certain unity, which I think made it work very well. The hard part about writing it, of course, is, killing your children. I knew going in that...
For you?
I don't mind killing...
That was your hobby.
I don't mind killing the characters, but I don't like to kill or lose, good bits. And the Battle of Blackwater, as it appears in the book, would have cost the budget of a Peter Jackson film to film. And we did lose. I was very happy that so many of you guys out there liked it so much, because we did have to lose a lot. We lost the chain right away. That was like the first thing going in. David and Dan told me right off, we can't do the chain. I said, well, okay, we can't do the chain, but we have the bridge of boats. No, we can't do the bridge of boats. Okay, well, we'll have the three whores throwing the antlerment. No, we can't do the three whores. So we lost that, but we managed to keep a lot of good stuff, and the wildfire, which really made it. And then with the plum on top of the pudding there, we got Neil Marshall to direct it, who's amazing director who had never done television before, and came in really at the last moment when the originally scheduled director had a family emergency, and the job he did with it was just phenomenal for me.
Are the things that surprise us as readers so much, from the very beginning when Bran gets thrown out the window, to the Red Wedding, to all kinds of other things that hit us full square in the face, did they hit you that way, or did you know? I
knew all those things ahead of time. Those things were all carefully planned, or as carefully planned. Well, it's a question of what... All right, let me phrase this carefully. When I say I knew them all ahead of time, well, how to define ahead of time? When I began this, I knew nothing. It came out of the blue. I was working on another novel when I started it. But at some point, where the book was really starting shape, those pieces fell into shape. But a lot of other things have come in. I originally sold this as a trilogy. It was only supposed to be 3 books. And now, I'm working on book 6 of the trilogy. So it has grown over time and over years. But the principal turning blocks, the principal set pieces, and the big shocking moments, I knew all along.
A lot of people, and then I'll toss back to you, Marie, a lot of people, including myself, read the books and we're like, man, he is so messing with our expectations. And do you ever, just as a writer who had been in the business a long time, ever say to yourself, I'm going to mess with these people. I'm going to introduce an absolutely adorable child. I'm going to make everybody love him in 5 pages, and then I'm going to cripple him. And that'll show the bastards.
I don't think about it in quite those ways. But I think the general impulse is there, yes. Long before I was a writer, I was a reader. I was a reader, I was a watcher of television, I was a watcher of movies, and all of these things. And I still do. I love to read, I love fiction, I love movies, I love television shows. And the one thing that I hate more than anything else is predictability. I hate reading a novel where you read the first chapter and you know exactly how it's going to end. And then, if you do plow on and read the rest of it, gosh, it does exactly what you thought it was going to do. And there's never a surprise in it. I don't like that in movies. I don't like that in television shows. It bores me. And we've all read. I hate to think, if you count up how many books I've read, how many movies I've seen, how many television shows I've watched in a lifetime, it seems true for all of you. So I think you have to shake up the rules a little and get the damn readers awake or viewers awake and take them in places that they don't expect to go. And that's hard. It's very hard. my first experience on television writing was on the revival of the Twilight Zone in the mid-'80s. And I grew up watching the original Twilight Zone, Rod Serling show. I'm sure many of you here at the Science Fiction Convention remember the Rod Serling show. And the Rod Serling show was famous for its twist endings. You all know that, right? Burgess Meredith breaks his glasses. Anne Francis is a mannequin. The girl that we think is getting made, the ugly girl is actually beautiful, and the beautiful people are ugly, and all that. Wonderful episodes in 1959 and 1960. So we're back in 1987 here. We're 85, 86, 87. We're doing the new Twilight Zone, and we got CBS all over our ass here, our network, saying, why don't your shows have twist endings like the original? People want twist endings. And what a problem is that the audience in 1986 was much more sophisticated than the audience in 1959. They could see all of these twist endings come a mile away. We tried to do a remake of the mannequin episode. We did remakes, and everybody knew that the lead character was a mannequin. We didn't fool anybody for an instant. So it's harder to be unpredictable because we've all seen so many television shows and so many movies, and we've seen these things. So, but I do strive for it. I don't say I always succeed, but I do strive for it. I think it makes for more involving entertainment.
Please. Go ahead.
I don't want to get in the way of everything else you plan. This just picks up on something I mentioned a moment ago when I was talking about Bran in the first book. In 5 pages, you make us love him, which is something that you do consistently, be it love or any other feeling that you seem to want us to have. I think specifically of some of the prologues and the epilogue, I think to one of the books where you introduce a character we haven't known before within paragraphs. We know who this person is, man or woman. We have a feeling about this person. We understand them. We're invested in them. That, to me, as someone who has written in my life, seems like a magical power. And I wanted to know if you could say, just talking about craft for a second, if you have techniques to do that. If there's something that you know that you can share with us now about how to create these characters so vividly and so quickly.
Well, I use a very tight third-person viewpoint structure. As a writer, you have a variety of ways that you can tell a story. You can use first person, of course, and I've done that occasionally in my life, where the character is actually saying, "I did this, I did that." That has the effect of someone who is actually telling a story. And when people tell a story, sometimes they lie. So that can be sort of interesting. But you can also do third person objective, third person omniscient, where you're God, you're looking down, and you're just describing what's happened, or you're entering the minds of any character. One moment you're in the waitress's mind, the next moment you're in the customer's mind, the next moment you're in a cook's mind. That's omniscient viewpoint. Or you're God, you know what everybody's thinking. Or objective, where you don't enter anyone's mind. And this is a current favorite, I think, of a lot of literary writers, where you just describe actually what's happening. You never enter anyone's thoughts. Obviously, I don't use any of these techniques. I pick a single viewpoint character and I go heavily inside their thoughts. So you not only hear what they're saying, but you hear what they are thinking. But only the one person. I don't like omniscient because we're not God. We don't experience stories that way. We experience stories through our single point of eyes. I'm looking, you're all looking up at us here, and I'm looking out at you. And we have very different viewpoint things. If suddenly a giant cockroach started crawling up the wall behind us, some of you might react there, and I would have no idea what was happening. Why are these people looking so strangely at us? And that's the way human beings live life and all that. And at the same time, making you intimate to the character's thoughts, I think, enables you to get who they are and what's important to them. And that's why I don't like the strictly objective viewpoint, where we just say what I said, what I do, which is much more of almost a cinematic technique. I mean, something written in third-person objective is what the camera sees, because unless you're doing a voiceover, which is tremendously clumsy, you can't hear the the ideas of character. So for that, we depend on subtle clues that the directors put in and that the actors supply. I can actually write, yes, you can trust me, he lied. How do you do that on...
That goes unstated, sir. We expect that.
Yeah.